a national championship contender in the Clemson Tigers is what we might have here. Dabo Swinney with his best team by far in years. All right. He even added a pretty decent transfer portal get, which is pretty rare for Dabo Swinney. And the thing here is, too, is I feel like Miami's kind of taking, not necessarily a nosedive, but maybe they'll take a step back without the elite quarterback play that they got from Cam Ward just a year ago. SMU will still be good, but this Clemson team with a good quarterback, one of the better defensive lines in all of college football, getting back nearly your entire offensive line, an underrated wide receiver room that you called last year, and serious hunger from a lot of these seniors on this team. CD, I mean, is it right to call Clemson? I mean, we know that they're a national championship contender, but where do you feel like they stand in that top tier? Like, do you think they're in that top tier, or do you think that they're just like a couple of pieces taking a jump away from really inserting themselves in that top tier?
Yeah, they got all the right ingredients for a national championship squad here. I think in terms of where we sit right now, let's wait till week one until we put them up there next to Georgia and Texas and even Ohio State in terms of just the pure talent on those rosters and physicality. I mean, the good news is like a lot of returning guys come on the team, but the bad news is like the pessimistic in you could look at that and be like, well, all those guys were there last year and they couldn't get it done in big spots. You lost a couple games, Georgia, right, Louisville, South Carolina, and Texas, and you kind of got out athleted a little bit in a couple of those games. So like that's the frustrating part. But I think the reality is there's a lot of talent on the team. I think there's enough athletes to absolutely win a title. I think you have one of the best quarterbacks in the country. We love your playmakers. Love the continuity on the offense defensive lines, the coaching staff. Yeah, how about getting Tom Allen, right? I think that's a big upgrade in this spot here. Garrett Riley in year 3 settling in more and more with Cade Klubnik. I love this team here. I cannot wait to break it down. I can't wait to watch them throughout the ACC here. So, yeah, let's get into it.
It doesn't feel like you lost a lot. Like for a team that made it to the college football playoffs and had a really good season, won the ACC. I mean, they didn't lose. I mean, Barrett Carter was their highest drafted player in the 4th round. They also lost R.J. Mickens, who was pretty good, and Phil Maffa, who was a pretty important piece when he was healthy. But it just feels like they are in a pretty prime position here in a schedule that features some tough out of conference games. But in terms of teams within the conference, like you gotta love the schedule. If you're Clemson here, with the exception of a couple of tough road games, and yeah, I mean, Cade Klubnik is kind of where you got to start here, right? One of the premier quarterbacks in college football, a guy that didn't necessarily show out his first 2 seasons at quarterback there. Garrett Riley comes in that 2023 season, sees some improvements. Last year was a big jump for him, and part of that had to do with the wide receiver core that he was playing with in a ground game that was pretty decently strong. I think they were, top 25 in yards per carry. I mean, they were top 40 run defense or rushing offense for most of the year, but from a passing standpoint, I mean, 37 touchdown passes as a team, averaging almost 300 yards a game in the air. I mean, they were airing it out. Cade Klubnik was kind of showing what he's got with his arm, and look, if he continues to grow and is one of those top 2, top 3 quarterbacks in college football, I mean, yeah, dangerous offense.
Yeah, I mean, you loved what you saw from him last year. That growth, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, was fantastic. And then also what he gave you on the ground, too. I think that's an underrated part of his game. He did have a 55-yard scamper. He did have 7 touchdowns, over 100, almost 120 carries as well. A lot of them scrambles and other stuff, sacks. So get that baked into the college game, but that's still also an added piece to his game. If he does go down, you'd see Christopher Rosanna, right, the third-year guy, who's backup quarterback here, was a highly rated recruit in his own right, 4-star kid. It sounds like that staff likes him. I mean, obviously they didn't go in portal or recruit over him. That's it's good news. I think if you're a Clemson fan, if something does happen to Klubnik for a game or two, he can come in there and I think be very serviceable. The reality is, if you do lose Klubnik like for the year or extended period of time, that could be very, very dangerous. As with most title contenders, right? As with most teams, like you lose starting quarterback, your expectations might have to change, right? So this year, obviously, hoping Klubnik stays healthy, hoping he takes another step and like Heisman, first round pick, stuff like that. Those are all things that are realistic outcomes for the 2025 season for Cade Klubnik.
And to help your quarterback, you gotta have a. Sometimes it benefits you to have a pretty strong ground game. You lose Phil Maffa at the running back spot year before. You lose Will Shipley. I mean, Adam Randall switching from wide receiver to running back looks like he's running with the ones, and he's going to be the guy. There are some other names that I like in here. True freshman Gideon Davidson. See what he can do. I mean, it is going to be interesting to see what kind of names emerge in that number 2 spot. But for right now, it feels like Adam Randall is the guy. So, I mean, for me, looking at this running back, it's a wait and see game for me, for sure. But it seems like Adam Randall's pretty explosive. He's a little bit bigger than, an average running back. I think this could work out pretty good, man.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting. I think it's good news because I think there's some good talent in this room. The fact that a guy changed positions and is like doing very, very good in camp, after being a new to the position. So that's like good. It's not like you have to put him out there because no one else is stepping up. Like that, I think that's a really good thing for Clemson. Also, the versatility he can give you and the options he gives Garrett Riley in the passing game as well. Ezio Mume, right, the redshirt freshman, and Keith Adams, a couple other guys to keep an eye on in that first game. I would assume they're going to ease Adam Randall into it, right? I don't think they're going to give him, 75, 80% snap share. So we'll see those guys. Yeah, Gideon Davis, guy you talked about, we'll see when he gets on the field. I think he could be one of those freshmen that just comes onto the field and then once the genie's out of it, like you can't put it back in the bottle. So that'll be a lot of fun. This is definitely a group you're gonna miss film off. You've had some attrition there at times with the room. I feel like the past couple years, but it's overall still a solid room, but not the strength of this offense by any means. That is the wide receiver position. If you want to hop to that, I want to pat myself on the back here. This is a room I was talking about. Very, very excited to see last year, and they proved me right. The combination of health, right? You had Antonio Williams healthy, you had Tyler Brown healthy, and then emergence of true freshmen that really, really surged onto the scene that we thought they would be with Bryant Wesco and TJ Moore, guys that stood out all throughout camp, all throughout the spring, and other stuff like that. It was a lot of fun to see them grow with Cade Klubnik and be true, like dynamic playmakers, in the ACC last year. So look for those four. You've got Cole Turner, Tristan Smith, a couple other guys that are there for you. Juju Preston, the true freshman, a couple other guys, that might see some work. But yeah, those guys you feel pretty darn good about that.
Yeah, those first 4 or 5 guys, like you said, solid, explosive. I mean, think about like it played such a huge role in Cade Klubnik's development as a quarterback last year. I mean, Antonio Williams is so good. Brian Wesco is so good at football, man. He is so good. So seeing these guys healthy, hopefully for, this whole season, I would hate to see anything happen to one of those guys, but even if one of them do go down, I mean, you do feel kind of good about Tyler Brown and, those 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys, but the big 3 are very clearly the big 3, and if they stay healthy and keep being dynamic, I mean, it's gonna be watch out, and in the tight end room, I mean, what are your thoughts on this tight end room kind of having to evolve from 2024 season?
Yeah, I mean, Olsen Pat Henry was a guy I feel like I've been talking about for a couple years now since he's been at Clemson. He was a really nice recruiting guy. They got in on him early before he kind of blew up in some recruiting rankings, and you've kind of reaped the benefits. He's been banged up, stuff like that. Um, and obviously Christian Beneker is also there, a guy that's they'll probably split some kind of role there, depending on what you want to see out of your tight end spot that week in and week out, or different down to down. Josh Sapp, another guy that's um, a little bit different, right? Very athletic, kind of gives you a different look there with him in the passing game and stuff like that. So all of a sudden, you think about it's kind of like that running back room where there's good pieces there. There's some young guys, there's some older guys, guys that have different roles and that things that Garrett Riley can get the most out of, and obviously help Cade Klubnik. But I mean, you're not really going to be running 2 and 3 tight end looks a ton here with Clemson just because you have so many good wide receivers. But you do have the option to, which is nice because you do have talent in this room. There's depth and versatility there from each of the players.
Yeah, I like that too. And then moving on to the offensive line, I mean, you get everyone back except for Marcus Tate, I guess. But you're bringing in Harris Sewell, who had over 530 snaps last year. So you're bringing back the same group of guys another year. I mean, continuity on the offensive line, right? I mean, we talk about offensive coordinator, quarterback continuity as being a big part of offenses taking the jump from years to years. Continuity in the offensive line is another one that can definitely help you take a jump. And this Clemson team is already like a very good offense last year relative to what we had seen in the last few years. I mean, you get another jump from this offensive line, which, by the way, will help Adam Randall significantly. But boy, I mean, keeping Cade Klubnik healthy, right, is obviously a priority. But boy, I think this could be a really solid offensive line if these guys take the jump that they need to take. I mean, it was already pretty solid last year. Like I don't have a lot of bad things to say about any of these guys. These are all talented kids. These are all highly rated recruits, and behind them are also talented, highly rated recruits. So I mean, it's very obvious. Like it's a pretty decent offensive line. I'm not gonna say too much more about it. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of guys back. Colin Sadler's another guy. I'll throw him in there. If he's healthy, can obviously contribute to you too as well, which is nice. And also Matt Luke, like the Matt Luke, a guy we talked about, uh, last year's being like a nice piece for you, getting this offensive line back to Clemson standards, and it worked a little bit last year. And I feel like you got a pretty good 5 or 6, 7 guys, right? Elijah Thurman, another guy that's also there. And unfortunately, he got hurt last year. Um, as well. And then, we'll see if Braden Jacobs is needed, right? And I know Clemson fans are excited to watch the young kid, but uh, to me, I mean, you go 8 deep with guys that are really good, solid ACC, legit college football playoff caliber offensive linemen. That's all you can ask for. And that's so much more important when you're breaking in a new running backs room, right? That's so much more important when you're keeping Cade Klubnik healthy and giving those elite wide receivers time to separate and do damage down the football field. Just makes this offense come together so much. This group here, staying healthy, taking the steps, playing as well as we think they are. This is another one of those position groups that are one of the most important in college football because of the impact they'll have, because of who they play on their schedule, and how good we think Clemson can be this year.
I mean, think about the guys they're taking reps from too in practice every day. This defensive line is nasty. It is nasty. I mean, how many better defensive lines can you realistically name in college football, if any?
I mean, in terms of like proven production and talent and like returning production, like you can't. I mean, Ohio State's has some freaky dudes on there. Georgia and Texas has some freaky dude. I think Alabama, when they're healthy, I'll let Tim Keenan just going down and stuff for them. Yeah, this is like borderline the best line in the like defense line in the country. Like I don't think this Clemson staff would trade any of these guys to other places. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and you throw in Will Helt, right? Like a guy that just come on in. Oh, here we come from Purdue, and let's do let's get a transfer in and throw him opposite TJ Parker. I mean, just awesome, just great work here from and embarrassment of riches for Tom Allen to work with in year one.
Yeah, I mean, high end talent, depth. I mean, you can run some seriously nasty rotations with these guys. Peter Woods is a guy that we've been talking about since he was freaking a true freshman. TJ Parker. I mean, yeah, it's nasty. And then in your linebacker core, it's like, okay, awesome. Um, sure, you lose Barrett Carter, but you got two linebackers coming back there with one of them with over 700 snaps, and then Sammy Brown was the gem, the defensive gem of that recruiting class just a year ago. And he was pretty good in the time that he played. He's just a freak athlete. So I would imagine him taking a big jump. I would imagine Wade Woodaz taking a big jump. I mean, they did bring in Jeremiah Alexander too, I believe, in the portal, which is interesting. Again, you don't see Dabo Sweeney making a lot of plays in the portal ever. So that's definitely another player to be looking out for. Jamal Anderson. I mean, another group I feel really good about, and you have to feel even better about it when they're playing behind this defensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only young guy in this room that's really going to be seeing significant minutes is Sammy Brown, and boy, oh boy, is he fun to watch. I mean, he was a guy we were talking about. I feel like off season last year, and for good reason. And he put in 400 snaps last year as a true freshman. Like that's big time. And I think another year in this in the ACC, a year with Tom Allen, probably helps things like come together and what he can do, and his ability to call defense. Yeah, Jeremiah Alexander said I'll throw D Creighton in there as well. A guy that's done a really good job. It sounds like in this offseason that Dabo Sweeney has continued to talk up when he's had the opportunity. It's a lot of fun. I mean, this group, even though, like, at first I was worried, I was like, well, you take Jeremiah Alexander. So that means, to me, I was like, well, does Dabo Sweeney not feel good about his depth? If he has to reach in the portal and get a guy at linebacker to be your third linebacker, does he not feel great about the depth? I think it was the opportunity to just get a really good guy, get a really good player, obviously former 5-star good athlete, a linebacker for you. It's not about the depth issues in this room at all. So yeah, it's another good one. One of the best front sevens in college football.
Yeah. And then how are we feeling about this secondary?
It's a fun one. I mean, last year you had a couple true freshmen, like young guys, come in and play for you.
Yeah.
Hampton, Ricardo Jones, who will be big pieces for you. Avion Terrell comes back, looking for a jump from him. So it's a solid group here. We'll see if Jaden Lucas, can get healthy and put things together, in one of his last opportunities to do that. How about Corian Gibson, a guy, a highly rated recruit from a year ago as well, to be out there. Shelton Lewis, kind of getting it again. Hopefully, he's ready to be that guy in the nickel room. And then Khalil Barnes, Ronan Hannafin. Ronan Hannafin's a guy that Tom Allen just kind of brought up again out of the blue. It's like another guy. It's okay. Yeah, let's see. All in all, like it feels like a deep group. Feels like a lot of versatility there. I love the position in like position battle for safety and even at nickel too. With Kelly kind of pushing Lewis, so it's fun here. I think you got a lot of options. And by the way, like, wouldn't surprise me to see Sammy Brown. I know he's a big cat, but he's a very, very athletic dude. Wouldn't surprise me to see him play some big nickel or kind of do some fun things with him, and once he gets more and more comfortable throughout the season and start playing him in space while you have Jeremiah Alexander or while you may be running some dime and nickel coverage. So, yeah, how about you? It might, yeah, it's a great group, right?
Yeah. And on top of that, I mean, the benefit of having to play these guys, I mean, these are all guys that played last year, except, of course, that second safety spot that's, going to have to replace RJ Mickens. Like, all these guys played, like, significant number of snaps as young guys. And, like, honestly, they were pretty good. They were pretty darn good. And then what happens when you take that extra step? I think the difference between like Texas and like Clemson, like right now, like I look at Alabama and Texas, and I think of those two teams as kind of like the best two teams right now when I'm looking at these rosters, like no holes, proven production, high end like NFL talent. I see that on Clemson's roster too, although I do want to see a step, from this DB room from multiple players. I think we're going to get it. And then, of course, I guess the running back position, you can call it a question mark as well on this team. So, like, it's not like a perfect roster, but there is room to grow. You got plenty of time on the schedule. Obviously, like LSU is week 1 and Georgia Tech's week 3, but there are a lot of opportunities to get some really nice wins here on this schedule. Like, if you say you split those bookend games, like between South Carolina and LSU, I mean, the rest of your ACC schedule, like, you're playing teams that are they won't hurt your resume, but they're like very winnable games that you'll probably likely be over a touchdown favorite in, for most of these. So it's an exciting year to be a Clemson fan. There's just so much optimism here. It's not necessarily either like oh, if now, then when, like kind of how we feel like when we look at Penn State. A lot of these guys are still pretty young, on this Clemson team, which is wild to say. You'll get some of these juniors, of course, going early. TJ Parker, Peter Woods, I would imagine, are headed out early. Depending how good Avion Terrell is this year. I don't know what his deal will be, coming the end of the season. NIL kind of changes a lot of that, Kate Klubnik will obviously likely be gone,
It's out of
pending,
eligibility.
some sort of like injury happening. But this is a great team. It's exciting too because a lot of these guys are young, but on the lines of scrimmage, they're mega experienced. I mean, this is a good football team, man. This is a good football team. We got a win total of 10.5 here. I mean, I think we know where we're leaning. Or are
Yeah.
you not leaning in that direction?
No, I think it's not crazy to go 10.5 over. I think if I'm going to bet this, which I might do, I might take the 9.5 just because I do see some teams on the schedule I love. You have to force me to pick a 10.5. I'm still going the over here. I think 11-1 is a really, really realistic and favorable outcome for them. I love like your revenge spots here. Like I love South Carolina. I think probably take a step back. I love revenge spot against Louisville. Probably take a step back, even though both those are on the road. I love that you get LSU and Florida State and SMU and Duke all at home. Syracuse, a team that won 9 games last year, they're at home, even though they'll probably take a big step back. At Georgia Tech is a really, really interesting one. So you talked about opportunities to get a lot of wins. These are games that I'm going to be expecting Clemson to win in every single one of them, right? They're 4-point favorites against top 10 LSU, right, at home. Obviously, that game won't be easy. It's not a guaranteed win by any stretch of imaginations, but it's a game that you're favored to win by over a field goal. That tells you something about this group, and also it gives you more flexibility. I mean, you saw last year, you kind of crawled your way back in. Like Miami choked against Syracuse, right, and then it just opened the door for you to end up coming back in the ACC, and then obviously with the automatic bid, you have all that coming. I expect, and
You had to win a barn burner in the ACC championship game.
yeah, where you let SMU back into that game. I think your resume will be a lot more impressive this year than it was last year. I do not expect you to be the 12 seed. I do expect you to be one of those top 4, if not an at large, and a pretty high at large, if that. So let's go Tigers here, man. I don't know. You're also on the over.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm with you. Like, if I was to bet it, I'm not betting it just because I think like there are some key injuries that you could look at and be like, oh, Peter Woods gets hurt, Cade Klubnik gets hurt. Then it's like some of those games where like LSU, South Carolina, SMU, like I'm like, okay, like the margins all of a sudden become a lot thinner. But I mean, over 10.5 at plus money, it's not crazy at all. 9.5 definitely, although you're eating up plenty of juice when you're taking it at 9.5. how can you go under? I don't know how you could, unless you're projecting injuries. But yeah, it's going to be a really good football team.